come yet. I still got a chance. Breath is still in my body. Yeah, I got a chance. But if God said it's going to die, it's going to die. It is what it is. Now, like I told you earlier, when my father had his heart attack, he told me this sickness is not unto death. But when I saw my sister, Patty Lane, I couldn't get, he didn't give me an answer. But in the text, God already said the boy was going to die. So here's a question that I ask you all. Here's the question I have. So y'all said that his faith was delusion. Is that what those yeses are for? That his faith was delusion? One of the church challenged that. They probably would try to challenge that with, but who cares what they challenge? Anyway, so for me, it depends on, let me see what T-Tay and Renee. I'm going to put the phone up in a minute, y'all. I'm almost an hour in. Okay. For me, it depends on, I am either anxious or I'm at peace. If after I pray, I am anxious, I turn my prayers to Lord, I believe, but I need you to help my unbelief. Ooh, church lady, I like that answer. Okay. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, but let me ask a question. If you pray and you think it's a delusional prayer, especially what David did, was David praying amiss? In James 4:3, he said, you ask and pray and receive not because you pray, because you ask amiss. In other words, what James was saying, there's certain things that you pray for that God is simply not going to grant because you didn't ask in the right spirit. In other words, you're praying amiss. Was David praying amiss based on the fact that God had already told him that the child was going to die? So should we stop praying? No, don't stop praying. But that's a good question, though. But now, see, for me, that would be a rhetorical question. But I'm gonna let the people in the audience answer that question. But no, don't ever stop praying. Don't ever stop praying. Right. But here's the thing: when you pray, okay, I'm gonna get there in a minute. You almost got me there. I'm almost ready. I'm gonna put a pin right there, Patty Lane, and I'll be back to it in a minute. All right. So, and here the question is, and here's another question because y'all answered the one about was David's prayer delusional? But let me ask you this question. Do you all think, and I'm going to give you all a little time to answer this. Do you all think there are times that our desires are delusional because they're not in the will of God? Okay, that's good. Tiffany Joy, I appreciate you for your transparency. Tiffany says, still learning to pray for God's will to be done. It's hard, though. And that's the thing, recognizing his will. See, there's a twofold process in that. First of all, you recognize his will, but then number two, you accept his will. Does that make sense? It's one thing to recognize it, but it's another thing to accept it. David recognized it because of what he heard. He repented. He said, Lord, I've sinned against you. I'm sorry. He recognized his will, but David didn't want to accept his will. What David wanted was David wanted God to spare the child's life. But guess what? God didn't do it. Chastity said, yes, there are times that our desires are delusional. Why? Because they are not in the will of God. David wanted God to spare the God's life. So we notice a couple things about David, right? We notice a couple different things. We notice his posture in prayer. We notice how long he practiced prayer. We saw some of the patterns of anxiety. But here's another thing, T-Tay and Renee, we saw the persistence of David's prayer. David prayed how long? All night. But not only did he pray all night, but David obviously prayed how long? For 7 days. Because the scripture says in verse number 18, it says, and it came to pass that on the seventh day that the child died. That's what it says. So during that whole time, while that child was sick, whether he had fever or whatever happened, however God struck him with his sickness, for those 7 days, David wouldn't eat. David stayed on his face. He was inconsolable. No one could get him up. He was just on his face and he was praying. So until the seventh day, he prayed. And I believe that David had come to the resolve that whatever the results were, he would be okay with them. You know why? Because he kept praying. See, some of us stop praying because we don't see the results that we wanted in a timely fashion, right? Because we think that God's time is on our time. Like God don't set his stopwatch according to our schedules. He just don't do it like that. God, God, in fact, God don't even move in the chronos. God don't move at 4:00 and 6:00 and 5:30 and April the 5th. And God don't move like that. God moves in the kairos. God moves in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. When his sovereign will says that he's ready to move, that's when God begins to move. And if he had not chosen to move, so here's the question. And that's the thing about it. David kept praying 7 days, all night, all day. He's on his face. He's praying, but he's praying and he's not getting results. But here's the question. Did David's prayer fail? Because the child died. The thing he was, good you talking about. T10 and Renee says, see, his ways are not our ways. So you talking about Isaiah 55:8, where it says his ways are not our ways because his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. And okay, yeah. So David prayed, but my question is, did his prayer fail because the child died? The thing that he was hoping wouldn't happen happened. So his prayer didn't produce. See, we perceive, I'm talking about us, we perceive prayer as failing when our prayer doesn't produce. We perceive our prayer as failing when we aren't cool with the results. I believe David was cool with the results, but he kept on praying. What you say? Look, hold on. How come his prayer didn't fail if it didn't produce the result that he was hoping for? His prayer. Okay, yeah. Wait a minute. Y'all keep telling me he prayed that God would save his son. God didn't do it. And you mean to tell me he didn't? Huh? Okay, y'all know I'm being facetious, right? See, it's real faith. This is real faith, Christy, Lady Fly. It's real faith when you can pray and whatever the results are, you cool with. You're saying, you know what, God, this is my desire. I would that you would do it this way. Nevertheless, that's why, when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane and he had, he knew what he had to do. He was about to go to the cross. He prayed. He said, Lord, I really don't want to do this, but nevertheless, not my will, but thine will be done. I preached a sermon one time called A Conversation Between a Father and His Child, because I believe in that moment between nevertheless and thy will, God said, I got you. And Jesus was cool with the results. See, it's usually the time a person would break down when they watched what they prayed for die. Because especially when a piece of you dies with what died. I honestly feel like when my sister passed, a piece of me, because that's my sibling, that was my blood sister, no matter what I heard, because Mama used to call and talk and, say this and that. Got to pray for your sister, all that kind of stuff. But she was still my sister. And when you have to watch, when you watch what you pray for die and something inside of them dies, something inside of them, piece of you dies with them. Watch this. That's an entry point for depression. Remember this. I told you this earlier tonight. Remember this. Every emotion, hear me well when I say this. Every emotion needs a body. Every emotion. And because every emotion needs a body, it's trying to find someone to attach to. And what they do, especially negative emotions, they find, in that moment, and we're talking about, mental health, right? And mental health, when you're mentally healthy, when your brain is presented with a scenario or an idea, it's looking for something, it's trying to make a good decision in that moment, right? And so when a negative emotion, a host is looking for a host, that's right, Sister Milton, Alicia, I say Sister Alicia Milton. That's right. It's looking for a host because it needs a negative something to attach to it. You wonder how you went like having a good day, and then all of a sudden you were presented with a negative emotion. Now your whole day is messed up in the day, but 9:00 in the morning. How did it work? Because when that negative emotion came to you, rather than you saying, I rebuke that, that's what church folks say, I rebuke that in the name of Jesus, or the postman says, return to sender, whatever you need to do in that moment when you are presented with that negative emotion, in that moment, you have to reject that negative emotion. You got to reject that negative emotion. How do you reject that negative emotion? What you do is you replace negative thoughts with good thoughts. That's what you do. You run instead of saying I'm broke, and I do it sometimes. I have to watch my mouth. I really do. And I'm glad for accountability partners in my life that when I do find myself talking negatively or something of the sort, I'm thankful in that moment that I have accountability partners that tell me, no, you're not broke. You just in between blessings, or you just financially in struggle right now, or all those types of things. They try to console me by telling, because, when you start speaking negative thoughts, there's power in your words, right? And those negative emotions, like I said earlier, they need a body. They need a body. So be careful how you when you start having those negative thoughts, because those negative thoughts become your actions. It'll mess your whole day up. I've been tricked so many times. I ain't gonna lie to you. I wrote a whole book about it. Because I was stuck in a negative place for so long. Y'all, I'm doing a real launch on my book first week in September. This is a copy of it, Stuck on the Couch. And while I was stuck on that couch, I was for an extended period of time. I had a bunch of negative thoughts. They kept coming. But thankfully, I had the Holy Spirit also that would come and remind me of who I was and would replace some of those negative thoughts, And you start having, when the enemy comes, he starts reminding you of your past. A good thought would remind him of his future. You let him know, hey, you looking at my past, but I'm looking at your future. Your future's in the lake of fire, So you got to, so you replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts whenever you're presented with negative thoughts, rather than giving those negative thoughts and giving those negative thoughts a body. Don't be, in other words, grandmama never say it like this, Tiffany Joy. I know y'all up in Detroit, y'all don't use the kind of language we do in the South. But grandmama say something like this: don't let the devil use you. Don't let the devil use you. So when your brain, when your mind is presented with that negative thought, don't you give in to it. Don't give in to those negative thoughts. Instead, replace that negative thought with a good thought or a positive thought. Second thing you want to do when that negative thought presents itself. You said y'all country up there? You so funny. With everybody, and you're right, because most people from the north came from the south anyway. But y'all got up there and y'all start hanging. Y'all got a little bit different dialect. And y'all can talk a little bit better. So y'all fix up. All right. So first thing is replace those negative thoughts. Second thing you want to do is move forward in your own timing. Listen, no one can tell you how to grieve. It's unfair. Nobody can tell you how you are supposed to grieve. It's not going. They can't tell you how you're supposed to feel, right? When David was laying on the earth and he was grieving before his child passed away, they thought, man, get up. No, you're the king. You don't want people to see you on the ground like this. Get up off of off of your do nothing and go do something, right? And they'll tell you all this time, how you're supposed. People tell. I had somebody tell me, Tiffany Joy and T-Tay and Renee too. I ain't gonna lie, because I know you pray for me, T-Tay. So I know you pray for me. So you had to pray for me the other day, because somebody told me the other day when I told them my sister passed, they put two words, God's will. I almost cussed. I cussed in my spirit, but I didn't cuss to them because I really wanted to. But they said God's will, because I wanted to say, okay, was it the providential will or was it the permissive will? And you mean to tell me God meant for my daughter to die, my sister to die at 34 and all? And I really wanted to understand the providential will versus this permissive will, because because under the providential will, according to Psalm, 3 So I struggled with that, right? Because you have certain people. I had somebody else tell me, they said, I know how you feel. Really? Really? You lost your sister at 34 that you didn't have, that you didn't spend as much time with as you thought. Yeah. And people can be so insensitive while a person is grieving, and the grief doesn't always start after the person passes away. So we grieve things that are still alive. We grieve relationships that we have been in a marriage for 4, 5, 10, 15 years, and then you get a divorce. There's going to be a grieving period. Even if you were in a relationship for 10 months and that person became a part of your community, and then all of a sudden your community changes, there's a grieving period, and everybody cannot tell you how you are supposed to grieve. The audacity of you to think you can. In other words, who died and left you God? Yeah. And you know what? It's okay, T-Tay and Renee. It's okay, Tiffany Joy, that if a scenario, if a scenario is presented to you that you don't have the answer, it's okay to say that I don't know. Be quiet. Hush your mouth. Sometimes your presence is the present. Just because sometimes being there is enough. I remember when my mother passed away. I had a very dear friend of mine at that time came through because they knew me. They understood, because I'm an introvert. So I'm the type of person that don't really want to be around nobody, but I want somebody around me all the time because my love language is touch. But I'm really like, you here now, but I'm like almost like, but what time you leaving? But that person knew me, and they were like, I said, well, they said I'm coming over. I'm like, no, don't worry about it. They're like, no, I'm on the way. Shut up. And they came, and when they came, it wasn't a whole lot of talking. It wasn't a whole lot of communication other than just being there, because sometimes in situations where you're grieving or you're waiting on an answer, or you got the answer that you didn't really want, but you got to live with the results and be cool with the results. Sometimes you just need somebody just to be there. Yeah. People think you ought to respond a different way. No. And see, the thing was, when the child died, the people around David knew that the child died. But they were like, if he acted like that while the child was alive, then how's he going to act when he finds out the child is dead? But when David saw how they were acting and how they were responding, David asked them a question. He said, is the child dead? And they were like, yeah, King, he's dead. And David's response was different. It wasn't like you would have thought, especially since he had been laying on the earth for 7 years 7 days. What am I talking about? For 7 days and wasn't eating. You would have thought David would have had a nervous breakdown and reached this existential breaking point. But I just told you a minute ago, you move forward in your own timing. David was ready to move forward in verse number 20, because verse 20 said, then David arose from the earth and washed and anointed himself, changed his apparel, went into the house of the Lord, worshiping while wounded. Worship, came into his own house, and when he required, they set bread before him, and he did eat. He moved forward in his own time. How was he able to move forward in his own time? I'm going to tell you how he was able to move forward in his own time. And I'm almost done. This is how David was able to move forward in his own time. It was because he accepted God's will. If we ever get to the point, place, and posture, when we get to the level of maturity where we are able to accept God's will, guess what? We can move forward. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? If we ever get to the place where we can accept God's will, then and only then can we move forward. Y'all ain't hearing what I'm talking about tonight. That's the problem. Y'all trying to figure it out. The reason why some of y'all can't move forward, some of us, is because we don't want it. Things didn't turn out the way we wanted them to turn out. So because they didn't turn out the way we wanted them to turn out, then we think that God's fixer is broke or whatever it is, or because he didn't do it the way we, because a lot of us don't ask God to do something that we don't think we can do. If we can't do it, we don't think God can do it. So I don't understand why there would be a need for a God if we think we can do everything that he can do, which is like erroneous and kind of crazy to think something along those lines, right? But nah. So David prayed. I'm not gonna do this service. Y'all leave me alone. David prayed, and God didn't do it. But David was cool with it, and he accepted God's will. And in verse number 22, what David said was, he said, the people went to David because they were kind of confused. And they said, while the child was yet alive, you acted a certain type of way. But why are you worshiping now? Why are you cool with the results now? I mean, what has transpired now that you are cool with the results? And this is what David said to him in verse number 22. He said, while the child was yet alive, I fasted and I wept. For I said, who can tell whether God will be gracious unto me that the child may live? But now that he's dead, wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him back unto me? Nah, I shall go to him, but he shall not return unto me. In other words, David saying, I can't bring him back, but I can sure go where he is. And how do I go where he is? The only way I can go where he is if I live right? If I do what I'm supposed to do, and if I live right, then when it's all said and done, when time and eternity kiss one another, and God sticks the golden sword in the sand of time, and step across, put one foot on the sea and the other foot on land, and knock off the belt of time, and all that kind of stuff the old preachers used to say. But when that happens, it'll be good. I'm gonna be good. Until then, no. All I can do is what God told me to do, and all I can do at that point is get to a point of maturity where I can just really accept God's will for my life. How many of us are mature enough to accept God's will for our life? Yeah. Who is Stacy's? I missed that part. That's the place. So the question is, did the prayer fail? Nah. You know why the prayer didn't fail? Because David was cool with whatever results, with whatever the results were. And if you and I ever get to the place of being cool with whatever the results were, in other words, you say, Lord, however you choose to bless me, I'll be satisfied. That's a powerful place to be in. What you say? And that's it. It hinges on our spiritual maturity. Yeah. And some of us have not been very mature because we think that we can change God's mind. Or we think that who is Stacey Adams dress you? Oh, Stacey Adams for fancy black men. Oh, okay. No, I don't wear no Stacey Adams though. That's old men. That's old men shoes. But you know what? Them people in Detroit, y'all do dress like that. Well, no, they dress like that in the South too. Let me send my boy this link because I got a special treat for us. But yeah, so that's it. Prayer doesn't fail. Nah. You should laugh about those Stacey Adams. Girl, if you see me in some Stacey Adams, please Take them off. I ain't wearing no Stacey Adams. I don't even want to wear a Stacey Adams tie, Stacey Adams shirt. I hope is this plagiarism? Is this slander? No, it's not. I'm just it's preference. I don't wear no. I prefer custom made, but I'm in between blessings right now, so I'm not. I don't wear no. I'm not lying. I don't wear no Stacey. I wear Italian nice. I'm trying. No, I don't wear no. I do. No, I ain't wearing no Stacey Adams. No, I ain't wearing no Stacey Adams. Look, but listen, real talk. His prayer didn't fail. His prayer did not fail. God's will was done, because if you learn later on that David did some amazing things, they don't fail. They just don't line up with his will. Absolutely. She said she rolled on the floor laughing. Absolutely. Patty Lane, let's unpack that. They don't fail. They just don't line up with his will. So no, not bougie, just still 52. I'm not 82. I don't want to wear no old shoe. The shoe be shining. I want real leather, and design. I like those kind of shoes. I kind of like those kind of shoes, right? So that's where I'm at. So you're right. So the question earlier, Tita and Renee, y'all help me on this. Some of y'all seasoned saints, Alicia Milton, Patty Lane asked earlier. She asked, "Do we stop praying?" My answer is no. We don't stop praying. We don't stop praying. We don't stop praying. Right? David wasn't wearing no Stacey Adams either. What are you talking about? I'm playing. You don't stop praying, but what you do, Patty Lane, is you get to a point where you're cool with his will. You get to a point where you're cool with his will. And you're saying, Lord, nevertheless. I mean, if all of us could ever get a nevertheless in our spirit, we would be so powerful. So powerful. If we could all get a nevertheless in our spirit, where we actually say, you know what? God, I really wish you would save this. Or God, I really wish you would let this live, or whatever else. I really wish he would. Oh, girl, Tiffany Joy. Girl, you about to make me hold on. Tiffany Joy she got to get one. I see you, Kennard. I'm coming. But I owe you one, Tiffany Joy. She said, though he slay me, I got to give you one. Hold on. You earned it. I haven't given one all night, but there it is. Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Yes, sir. That's it right there. She said, though he slay me. If those don't know the rest of that scripture, it says, yet will I trust in him. So that's accepting his will. Hey, listen, I got my buddy, one of my bestest friends in the world, although he don't call me that much no more, but it's all right. We don't have to talk often to know we're friends. But this is my, y'all know what I was about to say. This is my, I'm going to say it but this is my, let me get him on right quick. Dr. Kennard.
My man, James, how you doing?
And Louisville, is it hot up there too?
Man, it's hot as fish grease up here, brother. It's hot. It is definitely hot.
He is from Alabama, so he says stuff like hot as fish grease and all that kind of stuff. But
you can take the country out the boy. You can't take the boy out the country.
Well, you show country. I ain't gonna lie, but it's all good though, because you might. I ain't gonna say it because I'm online, but you might. You know exactly what it is. But boy, you crazy. It's crazy. Hey, but listen, what Patty Lane, y'all share this right quick, because y'all we get ready to be blessed right now, because Kennard is a very good great singer, vocalist, comes from a singing family, sings all across the country, pastors there in Louisville, Kentucky. But he's an awesome singer. And I was thinking about this whole thing about David. You just heard part of the lesson, Bush. David accepted the will of God concerning his son. And when they didn't understand, when the people didn't understand, David said, you know what? I can't go. Man, I can't go. I mean, my son, I can't bring my son back to me, but I can go where my son is. Right. And that happens after we live a certain life. We live a life that's in the will of God. And if we believe what we believe, if we believe that we're living with HIV, and I'm not talking about AIDS, I'm talking about heaven in view. If we're living with heaven in view, if we believe that there's life after this, then one of these days, we're going to, if we live right, old folks say one of these mornings, Lord, and it won't be long. Look for me and I'll be going up to glory. We don't talk about heaven no more because we talking about money. I get it. But if we still believe those types of things, if we really, I'm online for Lisa. If we really believe the types of things that we believe, then something's going to happen afterwards. So my sister passed away. I told you about that on the other day. Yeah. And I wanted to do this show in honor of her tonight, and I titled the show "When Prayer Seems Like It Failed." But I wanted you to come on, and I wanted you to sing a song for my audience. And the name of the song is called "Morning Dove." I'm making a request tonight.
Oh, wow.
So what I'm gonna do, y'all, I'm gonna put my microphone on mute, and I'm actually gonna take my face off, because if I do start crying, I don't want nobody to see me crying. So I'm gonna give the floor to my buddy Kennard Bush. I'm telling y'all, if y'all ain't never heard him sing, y'all better check this out. Real talk. Kennard, it's all you, buddy. I'm checking out right now, and bless the people. You can introduce yourself and then do your thing.
Well, you've done that, man. I'm just honored to be on this great podcast with you, doing a great work. And I just want to encourage you, man. Like you said, we're good friends. Good friends don't have to talk every day. And I want you to know I love you. I'm here for you. Even if I can't be physically, I'm here for you. Just a phone call away. But just to sing the song you requested, I like to hear old Harvey Watkins when he said, Lord, you've been so good to me. Lord, I don't know what I would do, but if I just had wings, ooh, like a morning dove, y'all know what I'd do. I would fly away. Everything gonna be all right, and I'm gonna be at rest. Lord, you brought me from such a mighty long way. Oh, you watched over me, Jesus. If you leave, I don't know what I would do. But if I just had wings, like a dove, I would spread them out and I would fly away. Everything gonna be all right, Kirk. One of these old days, we're gonna be at rest. God bless you, my brother. I love you much, man, and I'm praying for you. You my poo-poo too, you know. James and we go back to year 2002, I believe we met, and he is one of my closest brothers, not just a friend. James is a brother, and I love him just like I love my brother Ben, who sings with Drew Hill. We're pretty talented. They got all the talent. They left me what was left. But James, I love you, man. I just want you to know, man, you've been across this river before. Maybe not with your sister, but you've been there before, man. And the same boat that you took across the river before, guess what?
Hello, shoot.
Hello, you know what I'm talking about. It's gonna tell you on crossing.
Yeah. You know what? It's ironic that you brought up our meeting, because Kennard and I met. Kennard and my show's focus is mental health.
Okay.
And so Kennard and I met about 02, somewhere around that range, 01, 02, 2001. Okay. And Kennard was going through something that day. Kennard was facing prophetic burnout at that moment. And he was real stressed. And we didn't know each other from a can of paint. We had just met that day. But our spirits were kindred. We automatically connected. And we walked in out because we were staying at the Embassy Suites in Little Rock, Arkansas. Bishop Charles E. Williams had set us all up. We all had our own rooms and everything. But Kennard came and said, "Suite, we had suites, yeah. Embassy Suites, we had suites." But it didn't look like it looked now. It looked a whole lot worse now than it used to look. But anyway.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they didn't get But anyway, we went in that room, and Kennard, we ain't gonna say cried. We ain't gonna say that, but we wept and we talked.
It's okay.
We prayed. Yeah. We prayed, and I think when we left out of that room, you felt a little bit better than you felt coming in. And
here's the thing, Kirk. When I left out of that room, I knew I had a friend for life because you took the time, Kirk. Everybody else, I had conveyed my feelings and where I was at. You know, they didn't give me the advice you gave me, and I cherish that advice till today, man. You know, and I've been able to share it with other preachers across the country. The symptoms of prophetic burnout and what you go through and how you feel, and most of all, how you can overcome it, man. So I thank you just for being who you are, James. You are a special guy, man. Not a funny guy, special guy.
Mm.
Yeah, man.
Well, we've been friends for about 22 years because of that
man.
one conversation. So, like I said, we might. I ain't gonna look. He tried to get me to counsel him for his when he got married. I almost broke him up, but I don't do counsel. I don't do wedding. I don't do marriage counseling no more. I don't do marriage. Don't ask me ever do your marriage counseling because I'm gonna trouble you. So
hey man, my wife thinks the world of you, man. In her eyes, you're one of only few guys that she references as my friend.
Well, I think I proved that I wasn't gonna choose sides because I put you through hell during that little time.
Oh man, wrecked me over the coals, man.
We supposed to be friends. I'm like,
yeah, I didn't like you after that, James.
But we had to be true to. I had to be true to the relationship. I don't play with the marriage thing, but I don't. And I ain't want you to play with her if you wasn't ready. And I feel like anything that stands should be able to stand scrutiny. And that's the way I look at it. So I appreciate that. Tiffany said I'm a blessing and a hilarious blessing sometimes too. You so funny. Listen, I got the phone number up. If anybody wanted to call in and talk about the lesson on the night, you're welcome. I'll give you another 5 or 10 minutes or so. I started Kennard, I changed my show time. I used to start at 9, but I wouldn't be getting off till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And sometimes I'll be on a spiritual high. And you know how hard it is to come down at 11 o'clock at night. So I started doing it at 8 o'clock. So I can be through by 10 at the latest. My friend Myra, look at you, so sweet. She said, I knew you were special. Myra, you're the one that's special. Y'all, if y'all hadn't seen the show that I did called You Don't Look Like What You've Been Through, Myra Singleton, click on her picture. She is beautiful. Like how they say it in the South, brutiful. She is brutiful for real. But if you look at her testimony, man, she went to the doctor to get a checkup because she thought she was having sinus issues, right? And she turned out having stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Oh, wow.
And, bruh, if you look at what she looks like now, she doesn't look like what she's been through. And I'm not saying that just because she's attractive. I'm just saying with her spirit, how she carries herself, how she ministers unto other people who are going through the same thing because she's gone through the same thing, right? And I was talking to a pastor friend about that today. So many of us, we don't want to show our wounds. Jesus showed his wounds, but we don't want to show our wounds. It's like we some super saints. Oh, these dick rolls tripped me out, Jack. I ain't gonna lie, I messed up. I done cheated before. I done paid a bill. I done paid a bill late. I done cussed before. You know what I'm saying? I done done a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And if you step on my toe tomorrow, you might get cussed out tonight. In advance just to give you a little insulation for tomorrow. So I'm under construction forever. And if you see me slipping, hey, do know one thing. The only thing you missing is that blood that's covering me.
Oh yeah, man. We
I need
one.
We're
gonna go home, James. We're gonna go home, man. I plan
to
on
one.
Making heaven my home. I just ain't homesick yet.
Oh Lord. Oop right there, and I had to get me one in right quick. No, so listen, I appreciate it. Phone numbers. Oh no, you know what? Is anybody trying to call? Because you know what? I forgot to put the turn the phone on. I forgot to put the app up. Good. Didn't nobody call, so I missed y'all. If you did call again, like in 3 seconds. If you didn't call, I'm gonna get you on the show. We're gonna have a whole conversation one night, Kennard. Talk about some of your experience.
Stay blessed, man. And listen, we'll talk. Because I want to, when you arrange for your sister, man, make sure I have them.
Yeah, I will. I'll make sure, and I'll make much. Likewise. I love you back, man.
Take care.
All right, so God bless you, man. Appreciate you, bro. All right, so y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed that treat. Hey, that dude, y'all go pull it up on YouTube when he sings it in a church. Woo, he dumps that. His name, let me put his name in the comments. His name is Kennard. That's a country name in and of itself, ain't it? Kennard. I hope he ain't listening. But my middle name is a country too, so it is what it is. Kennard. I'm wrong for that. Y'all pray for me. I'm trying to do better in life. I don't understand why my computer's doing some stupid stuff today. But it's all good. I can't get it to act right. All right, his name is Kennard Bush. I need to buy me a new computer. Listen, if you all want to bless the platform, I'm gonna be doing some traveling here soon. I got to get back and forth to Arkansas a couple of times. Well, I'm gonna go on one time this month, but I'm going as soon as they make the arrangements, I'm gonna have to fly out of here and get to Arkansas and be with my family as we go through this grieving period. Pray for my younger sister, my other sister. She has the responsibility of taking care of my other sister's 3 children, which she had been doing. But y'all pray for her. Pray for my grandmother. Pray for her. Pray for my nieces and nephews, because they've gone through a lot. They lost their grandmother a couple of years ago, who was raising them at the time, and now they've lost their mother. So I need y'all to really, really, really pray for my nieces and nephews. And like I said, if you want to be a blessing to this platform or to us, the Cash App is right there, the Intellectual Stew. Cash App, the Intellectual Stew. Zelle, that's my phone number there, or PayPal. All those options are available, and we would appreciate anything that you contribute towards the platform. Stay tuned, because this month we will be, September, first Sunday in September, we will be releasing a formal release of Stuck on the Couch. I'm going to do something special here in a couple of weeks. I'm going to have somebody come on that has already read the book, and they're going to interview me. So I'm going to get out of the interviewer seat, and I'm going to get on the interviewee seat, and he's going to ask me certain questions about the book. And I'm going to share I'm going to be transparent. I don't have nothing to hide. And I'm the type person, and I hope y'all take it the right way, but I'm a type person, before I let you kill me, I'll commit suicide. So before I let you talk negative about me, I'll tell on myself. Because whatever I did it, and it's under the blood, and I don't care. So what you going to do? Penalize me for something I already got in trouble for? Man, kick rocks. And that's what I mean on that, for real. And I'm not joking when I say that either, okay? So, yeah, lift us up in prayer. Thank you all. It's been real. I've enjoyed this conversation tonight. I'm enjoying where this platform is going. If y'all continue to go with me, I promise you we're going to grow together. We're going to give you more options of people to come on and talk to. I'm going to, all those types of things, right? Because we're growing together. Now, as I always say, and I do mean it when I say it, as I get out of here, hope to see y'all on next week. Probably see you sometime during the week whenever I decide to go live. But in the meantime, I want you to know something. The world is changing. But I have a very specific question. And the question that I have for you is, why do you remain the same? Y'all have a good night. If you want to bless the platform, I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you all on next week. I love y'all. I really do. Be good.
With James Kirklin. Intellectual stew.
There's a difference between the symptoms of success and the substance of success. And so we can have the symptoms of success and drive a nice car, wear the right clothes, have the right bank account. Those are all symptoms of success. But when the rubber meets the road and it's time for the substance, do we pray together? Do we have those in-depth conversations? Can she read your body language? Likewise, can you read her body language? When she comes home from work and she's had a bad day, if she needs to decompress, do you recognize? Those are the things. You understand what I'm saying? Because I ain't gonna lie, it all sounds good for the gram. The colloquial expressions are great. You know what I'm saying? All that's good, but when you got to go home and look at it with the roller, you wear roller. But when you got to go home and you know what I'm saying, and all.